plastic waste is produced, waste lang po yun pag sinasabi natin. And that's nearly the equivalent weight of the entire human population. So we're not saying that that's even what's produced here. It's just the waste. Next slide, please. I'm so sorry. I'm getting a little passionate about the topic. Now, for marine debris, 60% of all plastic ever produced has ended up either in a landfill or the natural environment. But in the recent years, nakikita natin that the thing that we used to say, yung ang tinapon mong basura, babalik sa'yo, nangyayari na talaga. Everywhere we go, it really shows na tinatawag nila na Anthropocene era kung tinatawag nga nila kung ano tayo ngayon, which is everything on the planet right now is being affected by human activity. And even in the deepest depths of the ocean, there is the evidence of human activity because of evidence of plastic. Dahil nga po hindi siya nagbabiodegradate. So when we think of that, even the marine debris out there, akala ng mga tao minsan, or akala din namin dati, nanggagaling po ito kapag nandun lang tayo sa beach, or it comes from trips or boats, or it comes from sources right by the coast. But to be honest, 80% actually, almost all of ocean debris comes from land-based sources because plastic waste comes, or waste in general, comes from wherever there are people. And pag pinag-usapan natin ang damages, the cost of cleaning, the damages to the environment, the devastation caused to wildlife, and of course, human health, we're just beginning to discover that. It amounts to up to $2.5 trillion a year in damages and lost resources. Next slide, please. Now, microplastics, I mentioned this earlier, and I just like to tackle a few quick points. It's really scary to think that today, as much as 51 trillion microplastic particles already exist in the environment. And that's just an estimate. That's 500 times more than the stars in our galaxy. Imagine that. They say that on average, dahil hindi natin nakikita ang microplastics, it's in our seafood, it's in our sugar, it's in our sea salt, it's in even things like beer, it's in food products. They've even discovered it recently in vegetables, in human feces, and in some human organs. So ang studies, this is actually a study by WWF, they said that on average, human beings ingest the equivalent of 1 credit card of plastic per week. At nakakatakot din, hindi pa po natin alam kung ano talaga ang paraan or anong effects nito sa ating katawan. Next slide, please. Now, plastic pollution in the Philippines. As you look at these facts, nakakalungkot isipin because there has been much blame being given to people. And when we think of this, we cannot blame people, especially if the decisions that have to be made, including us, every single one of us, when we buy products, syempre, that also depends on our economic status. Kung may budget po ba tayo? Kaya po ba ng monthly budget natin, ng weekly budget, ng daily budget? So hindi po natin pwedeng ilagay lahat ng blame sa tao lang kung bakit po tayo maraming mga products like, let's say, sachets, cheap items like shopping bags and convenient items. But at the same time, we still need solutions that come from every single aspect. So, of course, this begins with people, better consumer habits, of course, and more importantly, we need corporations, companies, and producers to take action to really putting in the research, investing in more sustainable ways of producing items, and at the same time, being responsible for the items they produce. If you make something that is actually not biodegradable, for example, companies need to be responsible with recovering the packaging. If, for example, you don't want to be responsible for recovering the packaging and you want to be better and use sustainable items, like were explained earlier po, naku, ang ganda-ganda po ng talk earlier. If you would like to do that, then at the same time, of course, a lot of research and growth is also involved in that. And it's a more sustainable future because that's really how the global movement is really shifting. And another important aspect, pangatlo po, people, private sector, and the government. We need policies that ensure that the things that need to be done happen. We need policies to ensure that we hold companies accountable, of course, for the things that they produce. Nakakasakit po ba ito sa tao? Nakakaharm ba ito sa wildlife? Is it damaging our resources and our source of livelihood and food? And is it slowly killing us? Is it affecting our health? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Here we go. So people in the planet before profit. Oh, previous slide, I apologize. There you go. So we were saying that we were supposed to talk about people in the planet before profit. But in reality, what I would really like to say is, next slide please, nakita nyo na, people, planet, and purpose. Kasi hindi naman nating sinasabing don't profit because not profiting is actually not sustainable. Hindi po magtatagal kung hindi rin po kikita ng pera. Ang kailangan po dyan, talagang isipin na lang natin, ano po ba ang purpose natin? Not necessarily to make money, monetary gain, or to get rich, or to be famous. When I speak to a lot of the young people that actually inspire me, to be honest, kayo yung nag-inspire sa akin. I learn a lot of these things and get inspired by a lot of these things by individuals just like you. It's really showing na nakita natin ang passion ng youth today. Bata pa, high school, college, nagsasalita na about social and environmental issues. Bata pa, nag-iisip na ng mga ways na magkaroon ng mga small business that are good for the planet. And it's been happening all around me that in my own way, I feel like, wow, I'm definitely getting inspired. And I believe no matter how hard things are, the world is changing. Because honestly, true success is not gained through monetary success dahil lang sa kinitang pera or sa dami ng sales. It comes from actually changing lives. If you're able to change even just one life each day, you've already succeeded in this life, in your purpose, in your meaning. And when we think about that, if you actually try to address a genuine need in this world, something na talagang nangangailangan. So when we look at challenges, this really shows us that challenges are actually opportunities for solutions. Kasi kung problema siya, ibig sabihin, wala pang nakakasolve. So imagine nyo, when you look all around you and you look at the issues that we face and you look at the things that people are challenged by every day, dati, ako din as a human being, we would complain and say, ay naku, ba't kasi ganyan yung pagkagawa? Or bakit ganito? Now, through our friends, through our network, through our education, and even through the internet, just by researching, of course, make sure to always fact check and check really reliable sources. Napaka-importante po niyan kasi nowadays, ang dami na pong fake news and misinformation. But nowadays, there's so many ways to do research and start these things. For example, inspired ako kasi napakasakit po nang nangyayari sa atin this year ngayon, 2020 sa pandemic. But when you look at all the small businesses that suddenly popped up and also the support we've gotten sa nonprofit, nagulat ako. Kasi alam natin na naghihirap lahat. Pero nakaka-shock, nakaka-inspire, and honestly, naiiyak ako to think na ang dami pa rin tumulong. Ang daming sponsor, ang daming nagbigay. Na kahit sabihin mong 500 pesos na para sa isang pamilya, paano kung 1,000 yung nagbigay ng 500 pesos, 1,000 pamilya na yung natulungan natin. And when people really come together, miracles happen. And also when it comes to business, nakaka-inspire kasi yung mga nag-start pa ng mga small businesses from home, ang dami pa sa kanila ang mga gumagamit ngayon ng mga biodegradable packaging or nag-i-invest sa mga bagay that are good for the planet, whether it's plants or selling vegetables or plant-based food or making healthy meals and putting them in sustainable packaging or selling local products from sources across the country. These are the things that I feel we look into that give purpose. And once again, remember, from every challenge comes the opportunity to be the one that creates that solution. And that could be your purpose. Now, when people talk about how can we be more sustainable, minsan tinatanong ng mga tao, napaka-complicated po isipin. Honestly, I feel that the easiest way to really think about it and the easiest way to get inspired about the things that we want to do, whether it's nonprofit or business, is how can we consume less? When we say consume less, this is less resources, less packaging, wasting less. Of course, that's the next one right there. Caring more. So thinking about how was this made? Sino yung gumawa? Yung gumawa ba nito, were they treated fairly? Or were they treated justly? Sinors ba ito ng tama? Nabayaran ba sila ng tama? And of course, thinking na saan ka nang galing ang mga resources na sa paggawa nito? Merong bang gubat na nakalbo dahil dito? Merong bang mga wildlife na naapektuhan dahil dito because of, let's say, false information about traditional medicine using, of course, non-scientific based ingredients for medicine, things like that. So these are things we really want to look at. We want to ask more questions. Next slide, please. Really quickly, I'd just like to show you about the overview of a circular economy. But honestly, the way we really would look at it, if you'd like to take a screenshot or take a photo, I feel like I might run out of time. I'm not quite sure how much time I have left. Um,
13
but
minutes,
circular
ma'am.
economy, I'm sorry?
13 minutes po, ma'am. Pero we
Oh,
can, we
30 minutes.
can, we can, 13 po, 1-3, pero we can, konti
30,
lang na
okay.
minutes. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I promise to try to fit in the time. So really quickly, the things I just mentioned beforehand, which is consuming less and wasting less, I feel like are embodied by this graph. So this is something that I actually sourced through a report by the United Nations Environment Program. And a lot of the things that I learned, to be honest with you guys, itong pandemic, natuto po tayo ng mas marami because of webinars like this. Of course, we've been empowered, including me. I join a lot of these talks, and even when I join, I'm empowered by the speakers before and after me and inspired. And honestly, these things we can learn as long as you find your passion and your purpose. Now, speaking of circular economy, first is looking at, of course, the design, fewer raw materials, and how it's produced. So, syempre gusto natin yung carbon footprint mababa. So, of course, gusto natin walang use of fossil fuels. Kung po pwedeng renewable sources, whether it's the energy or using recycled materials na pwedeng ma-recycle over and over. For example, aluminum is a product that can be recycled infinitely, paulit-ulit. So even if it's something that we still need to segregate and recycle, it's something na pwedeng i-recycle paulit-ulit. Kasi ang plastic, actually, kahit na nare-recycle siya, hindi lahat nare-recycle unang-una. Tapos, hindi rin kasing effective yung pagka-recycle niya. Believe it or not, across the world, only 9% of plastics are actually recycled and only 2% are effectively recycled. And as it's recycled, bumababa din yung value. So hindi natin masasabing napaka-renewable, but we still need to do something with all the plastic that is out there right now polluting our earth. So these efforts are definitely extremely valuable, and we hope to see more and more progress and innovation throughout the years, the immediate years, hindi po decades. Distribution. So pag pinag-usapan natin, alam naman natin na kapag love local, di ba? Sinasabi natin na mas nakaka-save din tayo syempre on resources, less carbon footprint, kaysa sa mga nanggagaling sa iba pang bansa na shinip all the way across the world or all the way across, actually, nationwide, gusto pa rin natin i-support yan kasi tinatawagan nating love local, support our own. And there are a lot of things that can be made by the Philippines. Napakagaling po ng Pilipinas, at demonstrate ko din po sa inyo mamaya mga ibang suot ko na galing dito na pinagmamalaki ko din, and that excite me and inspire me. And of course, consumerism, tayo, the way we behave, really realizing that when it comes to segregating and recycling, or just really thinking of the things na after natin ginamit, anong gagawin natin doon? Hindi yung basta-basta wala na tayong pakialam, may pakialam lang tayo when we buy it, pero after we use it, we don't care. And honestly, once again, these are all opportunities for solutions and growth. We're seeing more and more people starting small recycling businesses, collecting recyclables and helping sell them. Junk shops are something we'd like to see more of kasi hindi talaga yan junk. Waste is not waste until you waste it. Composting, oh my gosh, ang dami-daming amazing initiatives that are very money-making and amazing for the planet when it comes to composting, and essentially that is all waste. So these are things, imagine na, across the world, we waste 1/3 of all the food that we produce each year. Nakakalungkot isipin with all the hunger that exists. So really thinking of the things that we do, and after we use something, what can we do with it? Kasi no matter what, pwede pa rin pagkakitaan, lalo na when you look at it collectively, pag nag-ipon-ipon na. Reuse and repair. There are a lot of really amazing corporations across the world. For example, B Corps like Patagonia. Meron silang special van that goes around the entire United States that just repairs all the items that they sell for free. So they try to make items that last long para talagang matibay. Na kung pa pwede an entire lifetime, isa lang kailangan mong bilhin. So that's wasting less. This is high quality products. Of course, you can charge a fair and better price because it's made well, it was sustainably sourced, it didn't hurt the planet. In fact, it's helping the planet and it's helping the people that made it. It's supporting their livelihood. Tapos at the same time, imagine mo, it lasts forever. You're really getting high value for the product. The company, imagine what they do, kahit na nabenta na nila, they're still thinking of how can we help being there to make everything more sustainable and circular. Let's help them repair things for free. So these are amazing things na pwedeng nating makuna ng inspiration. And of course, recycling. Nakikita na natin na ang dami-daming mga gamit across the world, including clothing, fabric just like this, not this that I'm wearing today, made of plastic bottles, and it looks just like this, made of discarded fishing nets, These earrings are actually made by the daughter, Katrina Dilantar. She's amazing, of a company called Nature's Legacy, and she made this brand called Florea. So this is actually made of recycled paper waste. So yung mga excess paper, little na mga pinaggupitan or hindi na magagamit, and this is actually incredibly durable. And then ito naman, Love Local. Gawa po ng aking friend na si Strozzy. Strozzy Miauvelis. She's from Cebu and she makes handmade local products na sobrang gusto ko, and she also uses sustainable materials. Ito naman po, this is the SDG logo, and this was actually made by the United Nations. But interestingly, when I looked at it, it also says on it, made with recycled materials. Next slide, please. So we see that in terms of really being sustainable, it's so empowering na pwede siyang gawin in both ways, whether it's local to global. At yun yung sinasabi po ni Sir kanina na think local, think global, act local. At doon po nag-start ang Sustainable Planet po dahil nakikita po namin yung mga issues na around us like straws and plastic pollution, like plastic bags na sinasabi natin, kung hindi tayo gagamit ng straw, anong pwede natin gamitin? Next slide, please. Sabi nila, we can use bamboo straws, metal straws. Today, meron na ngang rice straws, merong cassava straws. There's so many different kinds of biodegradable materials na ginagawa na today. When it comes to plastic bags, sinasabi natin, wag na. Ang gagawin natin, mag-reuse. Kasi kahit sabihin natin biodegradable, resources pa din yan, no matter what, and it's still gonna be a waste. So if it's something you're consuming daily, the best, most sustainable thing that you can actually purchase and make is something that's highly reusable, and that makes it extremely sustainable. For example, eco bags. Kasi ang eco bag, kung dadalhin mo na lang yun with you, it's really light, convenient, you can reuse it every single day, and imagine the millions of plastic bags throughout a lifetime ng ilang mga tao lang. So this is really incredible. But of course, before we even think of those things, we need to have guiding principles of where we really wanted to go. And for us, it was really more of, how can we do this? It wasn't really like, let's make products or get into business for eco-friendly products lang. We wanted to see how we could really empower more people. A lot of people don't know that indigenous or represent only 5% of the population, but they are responsible for taking care of 80% of the biodiversity of our planet. So yan ang ating mga forests at pinanggagalingan ng ating mga natural resources. Sila po ang nag-aalaga niyan at nagde-defend. And to us, we really want to see how, wow, imagine what they do for the world. Imagine what they do for the businesses that need these resources and these raw materials. Sila ang mga nagre-rehabilitate, care at nagde-defend. So we wanted to see people, and we wanted to see how we could actually make these methods also biodiversity friendly. So remember that term po, biodiversity friendly enterprises. And of course, partnerships. Kasi nakikita natin na isa sa malalaking problem din, maraming magagandang local products na hindi nabibigyan ng attention in the national sphere or even in the global sphere. So hopefully through our different projects and initiatives with the private sector, with the brands that Cora meets along the way, we can connect these initiatives from small local communities and connect them to the global sphere. But when we speak of all of this, syempre, I want to clarify na everything needs to be done step by step. Marami pong nagugulat na ako po mismo ang pumunta sa lahat ng mga government offices para po mag-inquire at magtanong. Talaga pong ako kasi hindi ako, malakas loob ko pong magtanong, and I really want to learn more. So literally what I did was I went there and I said, ito po ang plano ko, ito po yung mission namin at gusto namin gawin, and I just wanted to get your advice po, how we can get this started. What are the necessary paperworks po that we need? And I did this po at the very beginning of Cora, and I did this at the very beginning of the Sustainable Planet. Kasi nga po, from my experience din po here in the Philippines, from school, the knowledge din from my parents, and I guess from living in the United States as well, you really want to see na when you do things, you want to do it right, and you want to do it step by step. So kailangan po talaga we take the necessary protocols. Kasi if really we don't, once you get to a certain point, kayo rin po ang mahihirapan at magkakaroon ng mga problema. So this is part of the necessary partnerships that we make. Don't be afraid to ask questions. These offices and institutions are all here to help you grow, to help you move forward, and to share their knowledge. Next slide, please. Now, when it comes to our beneficiary communities, lahat po ito, these actually are communities na meron pong nag-aalaga na sa kanila ng mga local CSOs, local organizations. And people always get intimidated to see how they can help, thinking na, oh my gosh, I don't know how to start a social enterprise. Well, you actually don't necessarily have to start a social enterprise, but you can start helping all these small and local businesses that are doing wonderful and inspiring work by connecting them, of course, to your network. Ang Mambukon Indigenous Tribe sa Bataan, nakilala po namin sila through our friends at the UNDP. And meron din po silang local organization. Sila po ang gumagawa ng aming mga bamboo straws and bamboo products. Ang Samala Livelihood Community, na-meet po namin sila through some private sector partners po. At sila naman po ay gumagawa ng mga fabric products, mga women na mananahe, na tinutulungan din po namin women, mothers, teachers po. And we've done a lot of amazing projects with them, and we're so proud of the growth of their skills as well, just through the short years that we've worked together. Yung Tibili Indigenous Tribe, sa tulong naman po yan ng mga friends namin sa DENR, na nandun po, of course, sa Mindanao, sourcing items and products na, believe it or not, ang kanilang brass products are actually made of recycled padlocks and brass materials. Upcycled na po. It's so amazing. So it's actually a zero waste product na minimelt po nila, and they turn it to these wonderful jewelry and products, and I'll show you what we did with it shortly. At syempre sa Las Piñas po, ang water hyacinth weaving. This is so incredible. Kasi ang Las Piñas Livelihood Community na yan, stinart po yan ni Senator Cynthia Villar. At siya po ang nakaisip po dahil dun po sa Laguna Lake, naku, sa mga nakakaalam, ang dami po minsang nabubulok dahil po sa invasive species na water hyacinth. Pero ang maraming di nakakaalam na ang water hyacinth na yan, kung matatanggal natin yan, kasi kailangan po talagang tanggalin, hindi po siya pwedeng i-allow na talagang mag-proliferate masyado. Yun po ang mga nakikita nating magagandang mga baskets and products na ine-export pa across the world. So once again, another example of turning waste into something incredible. Next slide, please. I will slide through these fast na po and end in just a bit. And of course, nonprofit partners. A lot of companies across the world don't necessarily have their own foundations, their own groups that actually reach out to give support, but they engage with organizations and institutions either locally or across the world that have initiatives that they believe in. For us, po sa Sustainable Planet, we also give proceeds to Cora, of course, through coastal cleanups, tree planting activities, and humanitarian projects. So marami din po ang gumagawa din sa Cora na nag-benefit din po, na gusto naming pasalamatan, because during COVID, a lot of small businesses helped us by giving proceeds or by holding bake sales or mga certain products na ibebenta na ang proceeds mapupunta sa COVID relief operations. So we're so grateful for businesses also engaging and linking with the NGOs. Next slide, please. Oh, here's the example of what we did with some of the brass products from Mindanao. So ito po, ang nakikita niyo medallion sa gitna, gawa po yan ng Tibuli Indigenous Community sa Mindanao through the help of our friends from the DNR. At ang wood naman na ito, idea po yan ng isang company sa Rizal na kaibigan namin na tumutulong sa pag-manufacture ng mga sustainable awards. Actually, nakita ko yung award na ito sa isang event para sa Laudato Si. Now, Laudato Si, of course, is our global mission sa Catholic community to protect the environment and all of creation. So this wood was actually made from fallen trees na natanggal, na uproot during typhoons. So sustainable po siya in those two ways. Next slide, please. And this was actually the trophies given at the Nat Geo Earth Day run in 2019, which we are so proud of and grateful for that they engaged with us in this way, being able to connect na nga po the global sphere into the local sphere. Next slide, please. This is an initiative we do with Davines Sustainable Beauty across the world. Meron po kaming bottle recovery program with them, and we also do this with the Body Shop. Now, these are B corporations, and I hope that you guys can research what that means, because it's truly inspiring. Benefit corporations na maybe someday, you know, or be inspired by what they do and doing it in your own small way in the local sphere. We do bottle recovery programs, for example, sa mga salon. First of all, lahat ng mga products nila recycled na po yung mga container, and of course, they offer the recovery of this para po makuha namin sa Cora. We send it to our recycling partners and they are turned into new products. Next slide, please. We do this same initiative din po with the Body Shop, as you will see in the next slide, which is return, recycle, repeat. So your empty containers, kailangan lang po clean, dry, of course, and segregated. Yun lang po yung ina-ask namin always. But this initiative also came together in another way, because these pouches that you see here were actually made for the body shop by our Samala community. Yung mga nanay na partners po namin ang gumawa niyan, sina Ate Annalyn, proud na proud kami, grabe, na na-connect namin sila with them. And of course, this was a really, really special initiative to really help bring support to them as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'd like to go back to what I was saying in the beginning about what happened to me when my mom passed away, the depression that I went through, the journey that I went through, and everything that I realized. And the thing is, kasi we're never allowed to compare our feelings with anyone. Lalo na pagdating sa depression, hindi natin ever pwedeng sabihin na, mas malaki ang problema ko sa problema mo. Because when something has happened to you, that is the biggest problem in the world, and nothing can compare to that. But as I was going through all that I would think sometimes na, oh my gosh, kung ito yung nararamdaman ko, na ang nangyari sa aking mother, who was my best friend and my everything, is something that is normal. It's a normal life event, although of course traumatizing and painful. That's something we should all be able to heal from. It's something I carried with me too deeply. And of course, when it comes to depression, quick ano lang, there's no reason. It could be a chemical imbalance, a hormonal imbalance. It can come at any age to anyone at any time, whether young or old, even children. So we can never ever blame ourselves or anybody. But yun nga po, once again, it brought me back to my emotions. Next slide, please. And just thinking of, oh my gosh, kung ganito na nga yung nararamdaman kong pain and suffering just because of losing my ultimate everything, which was my mom, what more people going through other things in life? Let's say people that are going through the same things as me, pero baka talagang mas mahirap pa yung na-experience nila, or people that have heartbreaks, or experiencing bullying, or being abused, abandoned, victims of war, racism, injustice, and whatever it may be. Even if you're just someone that feels like you're alone, it's really okay not to be okay. And the thing is, this is something that really made me think, now, wow, I really think na parang when we look at the things that happen in our life, these painful experiences, pwede natin silang gamitin na isang parang radar of where we need to go. Kasi hindi ko akalain na it would lead me to where I am today. Na yun pala dahil sa pain na naramdaman ko because of my mom, and because of the things that she loved so much na iniisip-isip ko sa pagkawala niya, dala-dala ko, na it would turn into a mission like this, a mission of love for others, na naging about the environment pa, and all these things about sustainable business, a circular economy that I never dreamed I would ever be doing or even speaking with you today. And it really shows that I feel like if we can take this pain as something to inspire us, it can be so powerful. Next slide, please. And I feel like when we think of the joyous experiences of our life, the happiness, the good things that happen, they're there, of course, to keep us going, to keep us inspired. Pero alam ko na kahit papano, I feel in my heart, and I hope that you guys will experience this somehow and realize it in your own special way, na na-realize ko lang just the last few years. I turned 39 this year. So remember, it's never too late. I didn't start all of this till I was like mga 36, 37. So it's never too late for anything. Trust me. Now, when I say like happiness inspires us and gives us hope and joy, pain is an alert thing that touches us so deeply in our heart. Kinukurot tayo dahil tignan mo. Kapag minsan meron kang ini-explain, ayan tuloy, nahuhugot na ako, nagalaw ko pa tuloy. Kapag meron kang ini-explain and you're so passionate, madaldal ka, or grabe yung energy mo, or you're so excited about it, or medyo loud sometimes, or hyper the way that I am, sasabihin sa'yo, wow, grabe naman yung hugot mo, saan nanggagaling yan? Ba't napaka-passionate mo, napaka-hyper mo, or ba't galit ka? Ba't grabe yung hugot mo? I really think that that is something that we can call hugot power, to carry us to a place that could possibly lead us to our purpose. I feel like whatever hurts you, whatever touches you so deeply, the things that you see on the news, the issues that you see around you, sa kapitbahay mo, sa kaibigan mo, sa family mo, sa neighborhood, sa local community, sa local sphere, start there. Look at the needs all around you. And if something, kinukurot ka ng konti, take that as a sign that maybe that's your purpose, because it affects you. And if you can get affected by something and touched by something, that is the beginning of being able to understand it so much more. That is what we call hugot power. I'm going to make sure everybody's muted real quick now. Please, together with me, I would like to hear you say hugot power, just to remember that you have that hugot power to turn pain into purpose, purpose. Hugot power. 1, 2, 3.
Hugot
Hugot
power.
power. All right. And I want you to say, kasabay ko din right now, I want you to say, I am special.
I am special.
I am powerful.
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 I am unique.
I am unique.
I am amazing.
I am amazing.
I am strong.
I
I
am
am
strong.
I am love.
I am love.
Next slide, please. I'd like to share with you one of my favorite quotes ever. And this is, today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you. Never doubt yourself. Everything that you need to do in this world is already inside of you. And you know how I know that? And I didn't even realize it. I've known this for a while because I love Dr. Seuss, The Cat in the Hat. And basically, when you think about it, we all have a fingerprint. In this world, you are the only one that has that fingerprint. Walang iba. Ikaw lang ang nag-iisang tao sa mundo na may fingerprint na yan. If you have a twin, you will know that even identical twins are not completely identical. You can still tell them apart. There is no one like you. And if you were created and born to be so unique in every single way, all the way down to your DNA, wow. Imagine what else is there. Imagine the capacities, the gifts, the skills, the ideas, the visions that you have and don't even know that you will have. They're already in there, but of course they will come in that right time, that right place when it's meant to happen. Don't pressure yourself. Believe in the passions that you have. Believe in your hugot power and the things that touch you. Try to combine those little elements. Believe in the path. When things happen all around you, look at the signs. Pag may dumadating na humihingi ng tulong, hindi dapat tayo magreklamo na sabihin, oh my gosh, ba't ako yung pinuntahan? Maybe that's a path. Maybe that's a sign. Look at everything as a sign because everything that happens is never meant to hurt you. It's only there to take you forward, to empower you, to strengthen you kapag masakit at mahirap, and of course, to give us more knowledge from all these experiences. And I have to say, the most painful experiences of my life and the most challenging are the ones that actually helped me get to where we are today. At kaya po tayo nagkukwentuhan. At syempre, once again, I don't consider myself an expert at all of this. And I hope and pray every day that we can just keep doing what we can to help change lives and give meaning to every single minute and everything we do, to every word we say, to every decision we make, whether it's choosing to segregate and put it in the waste bin properly and not littering, to choose plant-based foods, to choose to conserve energy and water. All these little things make a difference. Next slide, please.
Miss Antoinette, I think it's the last slide na po.
Ay, okay. Maraming salamat. And I mentioned earlier, once again, don't forget, guys, love, courage, and purpose. Please say it with me again. Love, courage, and purpose.
Love, courage, and purpose.
Now, to end, share ko lang sa inyo another thing just to let you guys know na it's never too late. So I'm holding right here ukulele. Nakakaloka. All my life, nag-air guitar ako. Frustration ko na matuto na mag-guitar na hindi ko pa natutunan. Pero mahilig po akong kumanta. And a couple years ago, on a mission trip with Ma'am Gina Lopez, Tita Gina, I miss you, Tita Gina. We were in Cebu, and while waiting for a flight, we were at a ukulele cafe. And this was just a couple years ago. Because ilang oras po kaming nandun, I ended up kind of learning how to do it on the wall. And now I'm here today doing this. And hindi rin alam ng mga tao. Bata pa ako, as in mga 8 years old. Mahilig na ako sa mga rap. Yung mga Waterfalls, yung mga TLC, mga Francis M, things like that. So I've always been a rapper at heart. And lo and behold, I ended up creating a rap about the SDGs. Because that's just how much I love the SDGs. So I'd just like to share with you a song that really carries me forward, that's given meaning to my life. And honestly, you know, guys, I really, really wish for all of you, the life of purpose and the life of, syempre, masakit pa rin, mahirap. To do good is to encounter more challenges. It's harder to do good. It's easier to do the bad things. Kaya nga minsan nagkakaganito ng mundo natin. So remember, don't take it as a sign na dapat you're not doing what you're doing pag mahirap. Parte talaga yan, but it makes it more meaningful and sweet. You got this. I believe in you guys. Kung kinaya ko to, oh my gosh, trust me, someday baka mag-mental health talk ako with you guys. Kung marinig nyo man, malalaman ninyo, talagang kung kaya ko, kaya nyo. And this song goes out to all of you. I love you all. God bless you. Ayan tuloy na, ano na ako. with me. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win and lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving though the waters stay raging. In this maze, you can lose your way. It could drive you crazy, but don't let it phase you away. No way. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, sing with me, praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Your turn. O, diba karaoke? Here's the global goals. Eradicate poverty across the world. Zero hunger for every boy and girl. Good health, well-being, coast to coast. Quality education we need the most. Gender equality for all to see. Clean water, sanitation, clean energy. Decent work, economic growth. Industry, infrastructure, innovation. Reduce inequalities for every nation. Sustainable cities and communities. Responsible production and consumption, please. Climate action, that's the plan. Protect life below water and life on land. Peace, justice, strong institutions. Partners for the goal are the solution. Spread the good word across the land. Tell the whole world about the plan. Get ready 2030, that's the year. Human beings won't live in fear. Calling all earthlings everywhere. It's time to take action if you care. Hand in hand, together we can. 17 goals, one master plan. One day this all change. Treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom like, why I'll be I'll be yeah. All my life I've been waiting for, sing with me, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. One last time, your turn.
One day.
One day.
Someday, maybe someday,
Yay.
I believe in you. Kayang-kaya nyo to, guys. The future is in you. Truly.
Ayan, thank you very much. Wait lang po, nag-echo pala ako. I turned on the
pwede pala yun.
loudspeaker here sa aming office because
Oh,
I was so...
wow.
Okay, so grabe you guys. I think our audience know how I feel right now. Feeling ko sila din sobrang na-move by your inspiring lecture / para siya overall empowering talk on pati mental health. We also delved into mental health na kahit pahapyaw. Nakatulong siya sa ating youth entrepreneur. Sobrang na-inspire sila. A lot of people are now chatting sa ating chat box, Miss Antoinette. Sabi nila, amazing daw. Sobrang nakaka-inspire. Someday indeed. Thank you so much daw. They are clapping from their homes. All around the Philippines po tayo, Miss Antoinette. Actually, we have Zambales here. I believe we have Davao, we have La Union, all around the Philippines and not just NCR. Yes, we are open to them all. Ayan po. we can accept a couple of questions siguro if you have any questions. All our audiences, ito na yung chance nyo. You are with Miss Antoinette Taus. Ayan, may partnership project po ba kayo sa mga school? Sana meron po para mas maganda ang mag-participate sa students or nyo.
Yes, actually, oh my gosh. Nakakatawa kasi I always end up actually going overtime din sa mga talk. But we do work closely with schools. So meron nga po kaming champion school sa St. Mary's Baliwag of Bulacan. Proud na proud kami kasi isa sila sa mga champion schools na nag-start talaga ng mga recycling programs na binibenta sa mga junk shop at nakapag-provide na po ng scholarships for children that don't have an education. So imagine, sa school lang nila yun, this started because of a teacher. A teacher that cared and medyo talagang science teacher po kasi nila siya. So nung nalalaman niya yung mga nangyayari, si Teacher Pochi De Castro, hello. O di ba, shout out, wala siya dito pero kung may nakakakilala sa kanya. And it's so amazing kasi pati mga fast food places na malapit sa school, nagulat dahil yung mga bata pumupunta may sariling lalagyan na parang ay bawal po sa school namin ng plastic or nagsisegregate kami. So pakilagay na lang po dito sa sarili kong lalagyan. So it's really inspiring and amazing kasi even in small ways, within small communities, pag nagsastart yung mga movements na ganyan, nagkakaroon din ng opportunities once again for small businesses, even within the school sphere. So it's amazing talaga. And we also work with a lot of schools for coastal cleanups and of course our projects na pwede mag-volunteer before COVID. Syempre po ngayon, we don't really allow, or the government is not allowing mass gatherings, so we can't wait to get back to that someday. And yes, when it comes to schools, oh my goodness, all I can say is yes, yes, yes. Talagang that's one of the most powerful things that we really truly believe in, the youth. Everything that I even talk about, and I learned so many new things from you guys, to be honest. So we really want to see more empowerment in that sphere as well, especially when it comes to really discussing issues like this.
Yes, thank you for that question, Sir Michael, ha. And I believe anyone can reach out to their social media links. If ever we want to parang cultivate pa the partnerships na with our schools, so they can be easily nasa footer nila. Facebook and Instagram, they have at We Are Cora, at Planet Cora, and the Sustainable Planet. If ever you want to partner up with the social enterprise nila Miss Antoinette Taos. Ayan, recommended orgs to follow po. The Cora. Please follow Cora.
Yes.
Miss
Naku, nahihiya
Marjorie.
ako magbanggit kasi ang daming, pag hindi ko nabanggit lahat, baka malungkot sila. Pero
Oo,
honestly,
oo.
I always say na, um, we always say that you don't have to necessarily direct your efforts to us because there's so many different groups out there doing amazing things that we don't do either, or that we're doing the same things and we work together. Um, I feel like these are things na masasabi natin na go explore the internet, look for groups that inspire you. Actually, if you go to our Planet Cora page, we made a list, and also sa We Are Cora, of orgs to follow. Merong youth groups kaming ginawang material recently lang, na makikita nyo doon, nag-list kami ng mga links of orgs that we work with. And then sa Planet Cora, syempre, masasabi na natin na globally speaking, we want to listen to the global organizations like Greenpeace. These are institutions that really fight for the same things that we believe in. Of course, follow the global goals. This is yan yung website nila online, and also on Facebook and Instagram. It's at the global goals. So this is really something that also highlights movements across the world that support the SDGs. So through that, you'll also be able to discover global youth organizations and local youth organizations that are fighting for the same things that we believe in. And once again, we have a list din po sa page namin.
Ayan, it's a matter of finding the right organization na yun yung ginagawa nilang services, yun yung pinaprovide nilang services. So thank you sa lahat ng nag-express ng kanilang interest to join these organizations. Sobrang na-appreciate nilang kayo lahat. So I guess Miss Antoinette, since it's already 3:22, if they have further questions, pwede naman sila mag-reach out sa inyong social media links. Ayan. Miss Antoinette, I'd like to thank you again. Thank you so much po for accepting our invitation. Okay na okay lang po yun na medyo hindi natin nabasa agad yung email, but it's okay. We really appreciate you and your presence here, and thank you to your staff po, to your secretary, si Miss Joanne. Thank you very much. And that concludes our second session for the day. Thank you to our audiences who are very active. Chat sila ng chat, ng support nila, and inspired daw sila. Thank you, Miss Antoinette, again. And
Thank
more
you.
power to you, more power to Cora, more power to the sustainable planet. Thank you so
And
much
thank
po.
you. And to all of you, maraming salamat for this honor, this invitation. Thank you for inspiring me and for giving me another meaningful Saturday. Thank God it's Sabado. God
Thank you
bless
po.
you all. Stay
Okay
amazing and stay
po.
inspired.
Thank you very much. Okay. Ayan, grabe yung meron tayong talent portion. I was actually singing along, nakakahiya, pero na-unmute ko ata kanina. Ayan. Sige, let's I'll share my other screen because we'll be proceeding to our third session. Medyo na late na tayo. Sorry Miss Jenny, and sorry to our audiences na medyo na-delay na tayo na very slight. But again, eto na po. Let's proceed to our third session. Our third session is actually connected pa rin tayo dyan, pero this is medyo leaning towards connections not just here locally, domestic, pero connections as in online community. We all know online community is now reaching yung global levels na po tayo. Kasi hindi na tayo restricted lang ng face-to-face interaction. Now, this pandemic, mas na make use natin yung ating online platforms in order to business internetwork. Yan yung term namin. Kasi networking is like very na siya paulit-ulit. But now we call it business internetwork. Thus, the title of our third session for today. So okay, I hope nakikinig pa po tayong lahat. We still have 80 participants here. So thank you very much. Our title for the third session is Business Internet Network Cultivating the Online Community. While we know the face-to-face way of establishing substantial network, the digital age provides us an alternative approach to build relationships, which is online. This session will discuss how to build a network and how networking is done before and now in the digital age. It will further discuss the benefits of building relationships in the e-commerce. Dahil nga, as I've mentioned, hindi lang siya restricted to one place. 'Di ba? We can go global. Next session natin yan, going global. So this is tied up na doon sa ating next session. So again, we have, as you can see in our screen, the very beautiful Miss Jenny Winicky, the Chief Finance and Marketing Officer of her own business, the Tokyo Tempura. Nako, guys, bumili kayo sa Tokyo Tempura. I believe available din sila sa mga GrabFood, Food Panda, and meron silang mga kiosks dyan. So, let me just introduce Miss Jenny. Okay, actually, Miss Jenny Winicky is a member as well of the Association of Filipino Franchisers Incorporated, as well as she manages as the Chief Finance and Marketing Officer of the Tokyo Tempura. We also had her sa aming franchising bootcamp last year as a speaker as well. So we're very happy na Miss Jenny is with us here to talk on the business internetwork, cultivating the online community, because she focuses mainly din sa marketing side of connecting with her clients, her suppliers, her buyers, and lahat ng mga stakeholder ng kanyang company or ng kanyang business. So again, let's all welcome Miss Jenny Winicky of Tokyo Tempura. Good afternoon, Miss Jenny.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry
Very
po.
pretty.
I'm sorry po, hindi ko ako kumakanta. Kung gusto niyo, sasayaw na lang po ako para sa
Ay,
inyo.
sige, Miss Jenny.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Let me just introduce a bit more about myself. My background po is advertising. I have been working for 30 years in the advertising industry and leaders of the industry as the president of the advertising, the 4As, or the Association of Accredited Advertising Agencies of the Philippines. And I do volunteer work for the Ad Standards Council. Yun po yung parang censorship ng ating mga commercials. No po. So that's the ASC. And I am still very, very active in the industry of advertising and marketing. That is why, as my capacity in Tokyo Tempura, I am the Chief Marketing Officer, while George, my ex-boyfriend, which lectured to you, who lectured to you on the first day, is the CEO. Ako naman po ang CEO ng puso niya. Okay, so mas importante po yon. Okay, so anyway, this afternoon, as Charlene had said, I'm going to discuss about going global. What I will discuss with you today is something that we have not really explored. And it's really, literally, the online communities. The online communities itself, okay? Because we very well know what social media networks are, how to use it, etc., etc. But there's such a thing as online communities, di ba? So, okay, let me share my screen. Okay pa po ba tayo? Hindi naman po tayo,
Yes.
okay, after that, no? After that energetic and exciting woman, ang hirap yata ng...
Ma'am, sasayaw po tayo mamaya. Joke.
Oo nga, mamaya. Sige, nasaya tayo. So, tugtugan nyo ako, sasayaw tayo. So, my topic today is cultivating the online community. Okay, so alam naman po natin, no, literally, what communities are. Because, well, what Antoinette showed you, you have your sustainable community, your green community, your indigenous communities. These communities have been in existence for such a long time, di ba? From way, way back, as far as we can remember. And to define it, basically, a community is a group of people living in the same place. Ito po kasi yung the physical community that we have. But what ties them together is they have a particular characteristic in common and they share interests, the same interests and attitudes. Okay, so that's what makes a community. Okay, so why are people drawn to communities? Let's see, let's take a look. Today, we will analyze what brings people to communities, what makes them move towards that and stay in a community. Okay? So, since time immemorial, as I said, there have already been communities. No? Kahit ng prehistoric times, there are communities already. So, you see these cavemen huddling over the fire, di ba? Huddling around the fire, exchanging stories of how their adventures were, paano sila nag-hunt. But lagi sa isang community, merong isang umeepal na tao, yung nakagaya that guy na naka-afro, na nandidilat ang mata. He wants to insert himself into the middle. He wants to insert himself in the inner circle because he wants to belong. He wants to be part of the circle, right? Because why? Because that is sometimes human nature. Sometimes human nature lets us want to belong, right? Versus what Antoinette was saying about individualism, that is what we need to become entrepreneurs. But human nature, which we will use for our marketing, ito po ay marketing guide natin, abusuhin natin itong mga insights na to for our marketing purposes. So human nature wants us to belong, okay? Why? Because we are not just Homo sapiens. We are FOMO sapiens. Of course, alam po natin yan, no? Yung fear of missing out. We always want to be informed. We always want to know what's new. We always want to belong. So communities actually cater to these basic needs of the human Homo sapiens. Okay? And what are these needs? One, first and foremost, a lot of people, most of us, need to belong. Even if you are the black sheep in a herd of white sheep, you still want to belong. You still want to be wanted. You still want to be affirmed, right? Kahit papaano, you want to belong. And that is what the community offers to people, right? Aside from that, you have the need for self-worth. You want to be affirmed. You want to be recognized as who you are, as what you have to offer, right? And that is what the community provides, okay? So that is the attraction of the community for people. Another need that it addresses is the need to feel empowered. Because in a community, you are free to talk, to say your opinions and everything. So it is very comforting to be a part of a community. But we are talking about the physical space here. We are talking about the physical communities. Recent years have seen na paliit na po ang mga sumasali sa mga clubs, organizations, in the physical world because of the virtual social spaces that we have. Because now po, everybody is shifting to the digital world, especially after the pandemic. I'm sure that your associations, of course, you're still part of your organizations, but a lot of people are diverting already their interests into the digital world. So there is really a trend being seen that people are moving from digital, from physical communities into digital communities, which redefines our definition of what a community is. Okay, right now, a group of people living in the same place, hindi na po. Wala na yan. So it's a group of people having a particular characteristic in common, sharing interests and attitudes online. So that's basically our online community definition. Pareho pa rin naman po, na wala lang po yung physical, di ba? And why? Why are people going into the online communities? And it is really interesting that this is getting bigger and bigger globally. Okay, that is why a big global agency, research agency, decided to conduct a research about it, which I'm going to share with you today. Okay, Global Web Index tied up with Reddit, and they conducted this survey, which came out with this report. It's called The Era of We, the rise of online communities. Diba? So tayo, I'm sure you guys are aware of online communities. There are forums, there are blogs. You don't really look at it as a marketing tool, right? You don't really see it as being